Hello, in this video I'm just going to talk about going over sketching a character and getting through those kind of ugly phases. So I'm just creating a new document here, and at first I just start drawing directly on the white background and not really thinking about things. I've got a blocky black pen, I've used up too much of the space so I can't see his legs, and already I'm starting to see some sort of perspective. So I'm gonna try and work on that, but again I've not left enough room. I'm working on a white background and setting things up again. This time I'm going to make the background grey, and I'm also going to zoom in until I'm seeing the exact pixel. So Control and 1 will do that in Photoshop. If you press Control plus 1. So now I'm just doodling in a kind of character front on and thinking about like paneling, I guess, for like armor, and I'm not really using any reference. I'm just pulling things out my head based on things that I've seen before. And I often spend at least an hour a day looking at stuff that inspires me. So my head is full of like loads of ideas, but I don't have any reference next to me for this. I'm just trying to see what's in my head. So I'm kind of blocking out this character, but the pose feels kind of odd to me. Like he's very kind of stiff and rigid in the upper body, and I'm starting to change the way his arms are here, thinking that maybe that's the problem. So I've made him asymmetric. I've gave his forearm and his right forearm a little bit of foreshortening, so it means it looks shorter than it is because it's pointing directly towards the viewer. Okay, so now I've squeezed the character horizontally so that I can pull some of those angles out to the right more to make them look even more three-dimensional. So you can imagine I've made them kind of flatter, but then I'm bringing back those details. But now I feel like he's looking far too straight, like he's very just kind of up and down. So I'm using the warp tool here to pull him forward and back, but it's not done a great job. So I pulled his head forward more, and that's helped a little bit. Trying to pull his arm out to the side, see if that helps. But yeah, different things that I'm trying until I get something that works. But I'm going through a really ugly phase here, and one of the things I find that works is if you flip the canvas horizontally, then you can kind of see things from a different mind. So yeah, I'm just checking the pen works okay. I've got no opacity. So there you go. I've flipped the canvas horizontally, and I've realized the legs are all wrong. I don't have enough room. So I'm trying to squeeze the legs in, and you'll find that will happen quite a lot. Like if you just start with the upper body, you your mind loses focus of the whole character, and then you can only fit in what you want. But most people will try and squeeze in the legs and therefore make them shorter. So again, like my legs are too short, so I will be like going over this again and again, um, trying to fit the character into this scene. So you might want to make a kind of scene or background first to fit your character in, just as an idea, or say this is where his feet are going to be, this is where his head's going to be, this is where the middle body is going to be, but then you don't really think about the pose so much. So the way I've gone about this is very haphazard. I've just been hacking at it, flipping and erasing and flipping and erasing and just using, you know, just whatever I can see as a guide point, just constantly drawing over. And that's the good thing about using something like Photoshop or digital media, that you can just erase and go over things, and the more you see things wrong, the more you can fix them. Eventually something will work. So you have to try a lot of different things, and don't be afraid to just sacrifice what you tried already. You see, I'm constantly just erasing the arms, and then instead of using these rectangles to denote where the hands are, I've started to block things out and give it a bit of shape. So it's good to start with these blocky, rough shapes to start with, and then you can start to refine what's in there. You can see the foot's just became a complete mess on the right hand side there, so I will address that in a second. And so you can see where he is now. His stance is very kind of stretched out. So I've decided to pull the leg inward and make it look like he's kind of at a running pace, but that way you're running and you're about to stop. So you see I've rotated him forward just to give him like a bit more momentum there. And now I'm starting to use different tones to help bring out some of those shapes a bit better. Still very rough, but he's looking more like a kind of Isaac Dead Space character now. I'm starting to think about some of the features that help, show what he's wearing. That will help, convey a little bit of direction. And most of the time, I'm checking the thumbnail in the top right in the navigation window just to check that the lights and darks read quite well. And I've added this dark kind of cloak to him just to help create a bit of contrast, because there's a lot of noise and things here with little components and parts starting to appear. So just having contrasting areas really helps that. And then I'm shading some areas in just to help the piece pop a little bit. Now this whole thing took about 20-25 minutes. I've sped up the video 2.5 times, so yeah, it's roughly 20 minutes. And you can see that eventually you get to something that you can kind of work with. It's not fully detailed or anything yet, and it's only half telling a story that this guy is kind of running and gunning. I've added some extra weapons to him just in case he runs out of ammo. A couple of extra swords won't hurt. So he's got kind of big samurai sword on his back and a little katana sword on his side there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.